Look, we'll be skating until 2024. We 80 million strong, so we probably even more. Got more votes than anybody before. Don't let them tell you Joe did that, fool is way too slow. Come out, she gotta go. I hear the way she got there was being a little hoe. And if you think I should be Christian about it, then she a harlot. The nations won't be drinking her, man, they want too much longer. We're only getting stronger, and we gon' keep it as the beacon of hope. We only worship Jesus, not about you came to the Pope. Don't ask if I took the vaccine, cause the answer is no. And if you come to my house to force me, I'm letting that thing go. So I'll be out in the field, protesting the constitutional bills, separating the fake from the real, until we control both the House and the Senate. And Democrats are out, so they can't fabricate offenses. So we gon' take back the House, take back the Senate, take the Democrats out, so they can't fabricate offenses. Go city to city to get them all out of the way. We skating with the peace of God and the law. We only need patience. We skating, only on the side when the side is vacant. We skating.
We're dreaming of a better path. Let's make it real so we can make it last. Pick up a book and get some knowledge. I think you need to quit the college. Fabricating laws in your mind, David Blaine. Twist it on your arm, take that needle out your vein. Gotta keep faith, never take the Lord in vain. Praise Lord Jesus, He the treatment to my pain. You know we let soldiers in this game, no shame. Rock 2-3, you know I'm repping 2-way. Proof is on my mind, send the track to LA. Music touching souls, it's about to parlay. 2024, see it's just a slow race. I know you getting voted Biden, now you sitting with disgrace. So you see me skating, and there ain't no debating,
So we gon' take back the House, take back the Senate, take the Democrats out, so they can't fabricate offenses. Go city to city to get them all out the way. We skating with the peace of God and the law. We only need patience. We skating, only on the side when the side is vacant. We skating.
They throw the election on mistaken, and it feels worse when you look at what we're facing. The DNC and the GOP, they be faking, but they should be fighting cause patriots all waking. We was patient and we waited, did the past, did a little celebrated. Those at 3 a.m. in the morning, they had to take it. We expected to go outside to fight, but they left us naked. Rhinos, and it's only getting worse as the time goes. Real conservatives now, it's hard to find those. And it's just the old kinds of fine clothes that look nice, but they'll trail behind those. But we're good market and they'll get half of the base. Voting for the same devil, just a different face. I think we need a new movement to replace. I don't know if I can never support it.
So we gon' take back the House, take back the Senate, take the Democrats out, so they can't fabricate offenses. Go city to city to get them all out the way. We skating with the peace of God and the law. We only need patience. We skating, only on the side when the side is vacant. We skating.
Everybody, for the tremendous support you've shown. We're going to take back the Senate, take back the House. We're going to take back the White House, and sooner than you think.
What up, everybody? Welcome to Most Hated Mondays. That song was Skatin' by Official DVS 7.0. Shout out to Kelvin J and Bryson Gray as well on that track. And thank you all for joining us tonight on the 4th episode of Most Hated Mondays, y'all. It's funny because yesterday I just posted last week, or actually I posted the first 3 episodes on YouTube. And yesterday, within 24 hours, Dr. Assad's interview was taken off of YouTube. So, we got to be a little bit careful, I guess, what we put on YouTube. But anyways, welcome again to Most Hated Mondays, y'all. Every Monday, trying to bring you guys something new. Somebody maybe you haven't seen before. People from all over the country, all over the world, for that matter. Last week, we had Dr. Assad Chowdhury on episode 3. Episode 2. Before that, we had Mitchell Bosch, New York Freedom Rally freedom fighter from New York, and the first episode was Hypno 313. So appreciate the first 3 guests. And tonight we have another good show for you guys. Next week we have Romeo Georges from Australia on March 7th, and March 14th we have Lucas Lepagian from Tin Horn Flats in Burbank, California, to tell his story. And we're working on a few other guests as well. Already have talked to Kyle Turley, ex-NFL player. He's going to come on board. We're just trying to pin down a date, and a few others as well. But tonight, you guys, we have a special guest, a father freedom fighter, fellow freedom fighter, member of LExit, a musician, fellow patriot, and I consider a leader in the New York Freedom Rally movement, and just honestly the freedom movement all across our country. Without further ado, you guys, in respect to your time, DVS 7.0. Thanks for joining us.
DVS in the house. BBBSSS, the same one.
That's right. That's right.
You'll find that funny after you hear the actual song. It's called The Same One. One of the first songs I've ever released. One of my favorite as well, by the way, featuring Shawnetta Carson. It's non-political. Before the MAGA albums.
There you go. So you know, I've been following you for a while. You know, probably for a couple years now. Been through a few accounts, like most of us have, of course. And I'm a fan of your work, the New York Freedom Rally, and I'm a big fan of your song "Liberty or War." We'll get into that in a little bit. But thank you again for joining us to share your experiences, not only in the past, but also what you got coming on here in the future. So again, thanks for joining us. So we'll get right into this. For the people who may not know who you are, if you wouldn't mind, just spend a few minutes introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background and who you are.
I am DVS 7.0. By the way, a lot of people don't know what that stands for. It stands for Driven Via Spirit to Completion. 7 is the number of completion, so driven via spirit to completion. It comes from the verse in the Bible that says, he who began a good work in you will carry it to completion. So I'm being driven by the Spirit to completion.
All right. Like it.
So yeah, I mean, I've been rapping actually since I was like 15. I never actually finally released anything because everybody always made it. See, I grew up with everybody, you know, everybody was dependent on labels and all that stuff. And when I finally got down to finally dropping something, it was time for being independent and being able to drop something on my own. But I've been rapping since I was like 15 or so. I wrote my very first song ever. Didn't even know I could rap at all. I tried it, and it was actually pretty damn good. I was like, hold up, I might actually have something. But I grew up listening to Tupac. Tupac is still to this very day my favorite rapper of all time. Twista, Ghetto Boys, Scarface from Ghetto Boys, Trick Daddy. I love Trick Daddy to this day because I feel like he was the best representative of Miami till this day. No one represented the real Miami, the real way Miami is, like Trick Daddy did. He was a perfect representation for me, and so he was one of my favorites. Bone Thugs also, by the way.
All right.
Bone Thugs. I grew up on Bone Thugs.
So you grew up in Miami, and you reside now in New York? Is that correct?
I was born in New York. Moved to Miami when I was 6. Lived there probably like 28 years of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And did you grow up? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Did you grow up conservative, or how did you grow up? How were you raised with respect to politics?
I don't think we ever really took a side, but I know for sure that if we ever would have took a side, the way that we always leaned was conservative, without knowing really Republican, conservative, or what side's what. But I think we've always been, for the most part, conservative. There's been a little bit of Democrat ideology in my family and stuff like that, but
right.
And in some sense,
yeah. I think a lot of people, we're all put in. It seems we're trying to be put in boxes, in so many different boxes nowadays, and you're forced to take a side or a political party, but there's a lot of us who maybe have some social views that might be liberal, and maybe fiscally conservative, or other reasons why. So I understand where you're coming from on that. Can you remember like a certain red pill moment, maybe like as an adult, or have you always just since you turned 18, have you voted since you've been 18?
No, first time I ever voted was Trump.
Okay.
But prior to Trump, I was always, I as little as 10 years old, I was always, my mind has always been on like stuff that's going on in the world, like the how much all of that stuff matters, Christianity, the Bible. I've been reading my Bible since I was like 10 years old, 8 years old. And I've always been inclined to that. Like, I've always been watching, what's going on in the country and what's going on in the world. Never actually cared about Republican or Democrat, but it turned out that, for example, I never liked Obama. I didn't ever pay attention to whether he was,
Right.
But I didn't like Obama. I didn't like, I hardly liked Bush. Clinton, I thought he was actually did a good job in many ways, but I never really disliked him or liked him at the time of his presidency, at least. But
Right.
I've always been in tune. Oh, sorry, I was seeing a little message there. So yeah, the red pill moment was leading up to Trump. I was getting like more and more just watching Obama. Obama was like a big revelation for me. I didn't buy him for a single minute. Like, I'll be honest, he was an incredibly likable guy. Like, if I didn't have any wisdom and discernment, and if I would have just gone with my own way of normal thinking, I would have loved him to death. And I thought the first black president would be the very best thing that could ever happen. I couldn't wait for something like that because it just opened the doors to close the case, shut the conversation of racism off. It'll open the door for Hispanics, for just a whole nother, more, diverse capacity in our country. So, but to Obama from day one, he immediately was a red flag to me, instantaneously. I didn't like him at all, one bit from the door.
Right.
So, when obviously, I think the biggest red pill moment for everybody was just watching the news during Trump's run, just watching the news, and everybody just so nervous, so panicky, so like completely unnatural, just saying the most wildest, unbelievable things. And when I first saw Trump, I liked him immediately. I was like, when he was running, I was like, oh heck yeah, I love Trump. That would be awesome. But then I realized how he was speaking. I was like, you know what? Maybe he's great and he's hilarious, but maybe he's not the right guy. But that wore off really quick. Within like a week or two, I quickly realized that's exactly what I wanted. Like instantly, I was like, bro, I want exactly that. I want a guy who's his actual self, not presidential, not getting this pre-prepared posture and holding up his eloquent speech and all of that nonsense. I never bought it.
Right.
I know real people. I know how to. One of my greatest gifts, I think, is that I can kind of read a person. I can kind of understand a person by facial expressions, the way they hold their shoulders up, the way they say certain things, even when it's completely unrelated to something. You could tell when that one little thing that's completely unrelated is a lie about something else.
Right.
And I always been in tune to that. And so I like just the natural flow of a person, just the natural way of a person being. All that presidential speeches, never liked it.
Right. What made you get involved, I guess, on like more of an influencer, or just like getting outside, getting in the streets, and getting involved with the MAGA movement? When was that? And what sparked you to kind of, start pushing MAGA and Trump?
Well, I've been that way with anything I believe in. Since childhood. I used to have my friends on my porch reading Bible verses to them. I used to rally up people to go sell phone service, and I've just always been about something I believe in. I go all the way with it. And for me, when it came to Trump, and when it officially clicked, and I knew that what I was believing and seeing about Trump was official, and I wasn't just like iffy about it. When I felt solid about who I was gonna vote for, I went all the way, because I trust my way of thinking. I trust that I can put aside, pride. I can put aside my own preferences and actually see the truth in a matter. And I saw that it was even more encouraging to be that more like, attentive to the truth, watching how hard the left was lying. And then also how easy people were buying. I've never seen the people that are existing today right now. I never thought I'd see that level of just straight up sheepery. Like people are real full blown hardcore to the death sheeps.
It's crazy, man. Because I mean, out here in California now, Gavin Newsom, I guess, or whoever is telling people they can take off their masks. And I went to the store today, and it's like 70% of the people aren't wearing masks. And it's like, it just happened like that. They were just waiting for somebody to say, it's okay, now you can do it. It's crazy how gullible, how sheeple people are, like you said,
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
But so we'll just real quick, one more question on Trump. I know there's been a lot of back and forth within, I guess I'll consider it, I hate saying this and I hate dividing people into groups, but our side or our circle, Trump supporters, if you will, with his push on the vaccine and just some of the things that have transpired over the last 2 years. Do you still support Trump? Because I'm a firm believer he's going to run again in 2024, obviously considering he's healthy again to run. Would you support Trump again in 2024?
Yes. I had to pause to say that because I don't see anybody else, not even DeSantis. I don't know anyone I don't know a single human on earth that I've personally observed or have experienced to have done what Trump was able to do. And I say that grudgingly because I don't like the way he was pushing the V. And I get it. He made it, whatever. Some people, I mean, I hear some good, back and forth on it, some good arguments on why we should still support, even though he says that. But I don't like it one bit. It did start seeming to me, even though I can't believe that someone as solid as Trump, someone who was able to do as much as he was able to do and be so thorough, like Trump was the freaking man, bro. And a man who could be that thorough and that strategic in his ways and that disciplined to turn around, and his ending legacy is to be a dummy who cares more about his ego on a stupid V. Right? It doesn't add up to me, and for that reason, because I can't imagine that his ego surpasses all the discipline that he had with everything else, and that his ego could drive him and make him blind to all that what we're seeing with the VAERS and everything that they're doing. There's no question this V is incredibly questionable, suspicious as hell in so many ways. And so it's hard for me to believe that he was that disciplined with his entire presidency, and then just to fall into this stupid thing of ego. I don't see a man like that, of that level of discipline, even though he is cocky, he is, a proud guy, and he can't stop naming all of his accomplishments. It doesn't seem that even with that he would go that far into his own butt. So I don't know.
Yeah,
there's something questionable about his push for it. Maybe it's, what got me was pushing the booster. That one was where, like, okay, now there is really a question, because the first one, for me was, what if anyone else, what if giving out the V was put in the hands of Biden first, if he was the one to set it off under his terms, or under Hillary or whoever else could have been possible. What if it was under the left's terms that the V was produced and given to the people? And that is a serious question, because we see what happens in their hands. And perhaps Trump had to take a hold of it himself, because it was imminent and unstoppable, that he took it himself, so that at least he could get ahead of it, and perhaps, some people say, that some of these are placebos, or all kinds of little things, which in a sense there's something like that I could believe, and especially since they want to push all the other ones. There's something that the first one's not doing that they need the second ones and third ones and all the other ones to do. So perhaps that's the reason why they want so many more. It's because Trump created something that maybe counters, and I don't want to be conspiracy-ish with this crap, but I really think about this because it really doesn't add up. And for sure, I'd definitely rather him have launched the V than anyone else.
Yeah. Yeah. And I agree with everything that you said, and I think it's important to talk about, are we upset with him about his decision-making before the election, or are we upset with him afterwards? And you kind of mentioned the booster, you were upset that he pushed the booster. And as soon as you said that, I was like, you know what, why would he do that? But at the same time, the booster is the same exact shot as the first one. So if he goes against the booster, then he's going against his own Operation Warp Speed, right? But I still believe to this day, once the campaigning starts, he has the ability to flip this at any moment, because all he did was give the ability for it to be manufactured, the ability for it to be FDA approved. He did not approve it. He is not the one who sets the standards for the FDA or anybody else. He's not the one mandating it. So when it comes to injuries and stuff like that, I agree, but you have to understand what the machine would have done to him if he flips on it now, right? That's in an election year. They're going to blame him for everything. They'll flip it. And so I believe that he has, this is just me and we'll move on real quick, but I believe he has pretty much them cornered in every single way. I'm not a Q person. I'm not going to sit here and say, but he is a businessman. Somebody pointed that earlier. And, it is chess. And this is a game of chess, in politics. So I agree with you 100%. And I think most people who were upset with President Trump would vote for him again. I'll give you the last word on that topic and we'll move on.
Yeah, I don't. DeSantis which seems absolutely great, but he seems so great that I almost worry if he's too good to be true. If he's one of those, I almost worry. I mean, I don't see it at all. He seems thorough on his feet. He seems he is exactly who he portrays himself to be, and he's damn good at it. But I don't know. It's a risk. We waited 250 years for a guy like like Trump to come around, and for massive failures before him, to get a guy like Trump to expose so much and put us on our toes like we've never been in our life. We've never been on our toes like we've been on our toes, and so observant and so attentive like we are now because of Trump.
That's facts. And earlier or a couple of years ago, and still every once in a while, I still see you pushing it. I know you're a busy man right now, but how did you get involved with LExit? And if you don't mind, just maybe spend a couple minutes explaining what LExit is, and if anybody out there is interested, how they would join LExit.
Well, I'm a big fan of LExit. Matter of fact, let's throw this bad boy on real quick. I'm a big fan of LExit, and LExit has been very supportive of me as well. I haven't been as active with them as I'd love to be, because they are a really great organization. They're all about, if you know what it stands for, LExit, the LExit, the Latino exit from the Democratic Party, and they're great people. The founder, Jesse Hogan, he's a great guy. His story is amazing. And they're really doing the best they can for our country. It started out as a full-blown Latino thing, but it's becoming the Latinos showing themselves to be all about this country. You know what I mean? And that's what LExit represented to me. I wish I could be more involved, as I'd like to be. They did, bring me on board, and but I just haven't been able to be as active as I'd like to be with LExit. But they're a great organization with a great set of people at the very top. Yep.
All right. And how do people get involved with LExit, or what? Maybe if you can plug a couple accounts that people should follow with regards to LExit if they want to learn more or get involved?
Yeah, so I would follow at LExit Movement. Follow A-Rod. Dang, I think it's A-Rod_44.
Everybody's names change so often.
I'd follow SES Rebecca, REBEKAH Grace, S Rebecca Grace, Carmen LExit, at Carmen LExit, or at Spicy Street Convos. Wow, I don't know how I remember these just off the top, because you don't just really remember ats like that. But
right.
Yeah, you follow some of those pages. You follow at LExit Movement, or at LExit New York, or at LExit Virginia. I think those are also some. You'll be able to get in touch with a lot of the people on at the top from there, and work your way up to all the right accounts. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're if LExit sees you to be a real person who really cares about this country and cares about the Latino voice and just America first, I think they'll consider you.
All right. Let's move into your music a little bit now, if you don't mind. You spoke a little bit earlier on some of your influences growing up. Who are some of your influences today? I know you consider yourself to be like I guess a Christian conservative rapper, or a lot of people call the group of rappers MAGA rappers, but I think it's bigger than that. Who are some of your influences, current artists today that you look up to?
Influences, I don't know about that. Not today artists. Not as influences. Not so much, perhaps. I mean, we all get influenced from the things we like in some way or another. But not in the way I think you're asking. Like Tupac is an influence for me. He was an influence to my music, and still is. Because of that era and the Tupac type music, I haven't been the same since. Like, I don't look at everybody the same. Everything after, to me, nothing has matched Tupac for me, and or even come close. And so I haven't really had influence. Now there are people who I admire in the movement now, like Tyson James. He's just his whole character. He's just like, he's a sturdy dude. He's a very disciplined dude. His music is solid. He stays on his message. He's real as hell. Even when you meet him in person, he's like a really awesome guy. And he has a lot of integrity too. I really admire Tyson James a lot. I just like his whole character. He's like a really awesome guy. And his music is solid as hell. And so Tyson James, Bryson Gray. Bryson Gray is an amazing artist. I don't agree with a lot of things with Bryson, but the guy is awesome. I've obviously become friends with Bryson and met him many times in person, and he's a great guy, and he's hilarious. He's chill as hell. He's actually, if you see him on live, you think he's like the most arrogant, which it's hard not to believe he ain't when you see him on live. But in person, he's a really humble. He seems like a really kind person.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't get that so much from his controversial style. And again, I don't agree with a lot of things scripturally. In fact, Bryson has become like the one person that I've never met a person I disagree with more on scripture. For me, he's the most unscriptural person I ever met. I'm sorry if he's listening to that, but it's just what I feel. Enough about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll save that for another show. But one of your songs, "Liberty or War," is probably my favorite song out right now. And I don't know if everybody in here has heard that song, but I would like to play that song real quick and then get your reaction. I'm going to bring on Austin as well. I got Austin Hill coming on from the Canadian Truckers Convoy, so we'll bring him on. We'll listen to the song. and then we'll talk a little bit about your song, and then we're gonna talk to Austin as well. So let me bring him on, and let me turn on this song here.
I wonder why I can't see new messages, new comments. That happens to me very often.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Liberty or War by DVS.
I'm calling them black person, they end up for 8 years. My name is Sonny, got a hobby, I'm an alias. So if you wanna come get, no, you gonna play chicken, but listen, I ain't no chicken. When I play the game, I play it for collision, so I think it's in the best interest. I listen to our administration in full verse. New York is holding the line, and we gon' hold it till our body and our clothes hurt. And even then, we ain't gon' back down. We outside, whole gang outside, basically it's outside, and we going worldwide.
Guys, stand up. We can make a change. Just don't be afraid. Let your voice be heard. Change must cross from my neck. Jesus said, be not afraid. This all ends when we say no.
War, now it's liberty or war, and God is at the head of it. We were just all relative, giving all of us instead of Taliban. Not again, I'm feeling pressed by it, so I'ma give us some more. Into the FBI, I'm taking my dough. With some allegations bigger than Jamal and Joe. The Mafia gotta know, every guy better know that the NYSR ain't paying no more. We want no new normal. If you really wanna talk, we can all be cordial. Still ready for the fact we wrestle, not against borders.
The people that come out and find you, every county, you're gonna have to come be a constituent. And I'm guaranteeing you, as a taxpayer, I'm gonna want you to do the job that I want you to do. It's not the other way around.
Nobody my choice conveniently means nothing. Let me tell you something. The time is here, we're all coming to the full realization that all you cooking out profile figures are plucking out of bottom by your back like deep. And that's that. We're taking the country back. We the people won't crack. We ain't crack. No slack. See the thinking how you act. So every flip flop is still a scientific fact. How you figure that? The Constitution is a bust, but common sense is a must. So it's liberty and war and nothing more to discuss.
When I just get back here, I said because the government doesn't own my body. And I told them, if I allow them to do that, I won't be free anymore. I won't be a slave. And the school system are being taught to be slaves because we're supposed to teach children how to think, not what to think. We're supposed to be so unbiased, but the school system is being biased. Oh, because I'm unvaccinated and I'm dirty. I get worried it's because I'm unvaccinated and I'm diseased because this is a propaganda. And it breaks my heart when they're thinking that we the teachers, we don't care about them. I do care about them, and that's why I want to use my job. Because I want to do it.
Yo, that song is fire, man. You guys, Liberty or War, get that song on all platforms, iTunes, wherever you guys find your music. DVS, you guys, real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we got Austin Hill in here joining us tonight. Everybody, shout out Austin Hill. He was boots on the ground with the Canadian truckers in Canada since, I believe, day 1 or day 2, you guys.
Day two.
Haven't been
I was there
following him.
2 days.
We're going to talk to him real briefly, real quick. If you don't mind, Austin, I just want to talk to him about his song real quick. Back to you, DVS. DVS, what inspired you to write that song?
New York and what we've been doing outside. That song was actually, I'm actually almost the entire album was kind of almost a dedication to the New York Freedom Rally and the friends that I made there and how hard they've been going and the people of New York have been going on the street. So I got to take off my hat to NYFR, because nobody's doing what they're doing anywhere in any other state. You know, New York is doing it, and NYFR is at the very head of it. So that's what inspired me. You know, also obviously what we're outside about. You know, the mandates and what I like about NYFR is they're not like a side. They're not like, you know, any particular political side. It's a group of just everyone who's against these mandates, against just things that really don't make sense. And so I like that. We've even marched with BLM. You know, not that I agree with BLM, but we've marched alongside of them, you know,
Right.
or them alongside of us, and gave them a stage, gave them a platform, you know. So I love that about it.
And I think the whole mandate thing, you know, it transcends so many different lines, you know, whether whatever side politically you're on, unvaccinated, vaccinated, you know, it transcends so many lines. And you know, there's three there, you know, I spoke a couple weeks ago to Mitchell Bosch, who you know real well, obviously, and we talked about the role of men, you know, and the role of men out there on the front lines. But there's a lot of women, both in Canada as well as in New York, in the New York Freedom Rally movement, and three of which were in that song that you plugged in that song, Sylvia, Joy, and Joe Rose. Would you mind just saying a little bit about those three ladies and their role in the New York Freedom Rally movement? You there?
I think we're losing them.
Are we losing them? All right, Austin. For everybody that doesn't know you, you were out there on day 2, I believe it was.
Yep.
Can you please let everybody know what it was like on the boots on the ground in Canada?
Oh man, it was definitely a hell of a movement out there. You know, from day 2 all the way through till day 23, I believe it was. Day 22 or 23, I think it went to. But, you know, for those first 20 days, it was nothing but, you know, peace, love, happiness.
Oh, that was terrible.
Just
Sorry.
seeing like everybody on the street that came together from all over the world. You know, we had people drive to Ottawa from the States. You know, I had a couple people actually drive all the way out here just to be able to experience it firsthand and see everything that was going on in the streets for themselves. Because, you know, when, like, for example, you guys in the States, you guys are forced to watch the news and see what's going on in Canada and Ottawa. But, you know, being able to tune into a live stream and see what's really going on out here on the streets is a big factor for that reason, you know, because you guys can jump on, watch me, watch other streamers out there and see what's actually going on out there. And, you know, it was a crazy moment to see the fact that, you know, every corner you looked at, there was food stands set up for, you know, the protesters, the truckers, the homeless. You know, there was any time like you're in your truck, in your car, whatever, you could just be in like in a car parked on the side of the road, and you had people coming up to you, hey man, do you need anything? Do you need lunch? Do you need dinner? You need, you know, and they're offering you sandwiches, they're offering you snacks, they're offering you money to get food, stay in a hotel, just anything, you know. And it was just crazy. Every corner too, you got people hugging, dancing, holding signs, coming together. It was honestly like one of the best experiences like I've ever got to experience being out there. And, you know, the last 2 days that we were there, it was all violence, and it all came from the police. And, you know, we sat there, no matter what they did to us, we sat there with smiles on our faces, told them we loved them, told them we thanked them. And, you know, even getting shot with tear gas and rubber bullets and hit with batons and thrown into cars and getting punched in the face and getting beat while you were on the ground, you know, we still smiled. We still said we loved you. And at the end of the day, we made the police force look absolutely stupid at the end of the day, because, you know, now everybody that watches it all over the world goes, man, did you see how those Canadian cops handled those innocent protesters on the streets? You know, they came in with violence, and these guys just stood there and told them that they loved them and just wanted to hug them and shake their hand and, you know, sing "Oh Canada" with them. And here's the cops using full force to just beat the hell out of them. And, you know, at the end of the day, it makes us winners because we got to leave there with our will and with happiness on our faces to, you know, the cops leaving there and thinking, wow, you know what, that guy really did nothing back there, but I still beat the hell out of him anyways. And
Yeah.
it was crazy, you know. So like you guys being out in the States, I know how you guys are out there, and you know, you guys like to get pretty violent out there, and that's one thing you guys need to you guys need to practice that, man. You guys need to learn, you know, just to keep it positive, keep the happy vibes, the strong energy, and just kill them with kindness, man, because that goes a long way. But you know, like I said, I know how you guys are out there, and it's, you know, you guys can turn on each other very quick, let alone that turn on the enforcement too, right? So you know, we had people like protesters, you know, that we were fighting there for the same reason, and they were still sitting there fighting with each other. So there was like numerous times where I had to like get in between them and like tell them, guys, like you guys need to smarten up and get along, because we're in this together, you know. This is what the police department wants. They want us to turn on each other, and they want us to fight with each other so that they can move in with as much force possible as they need, right? So the best advice I could give to you guys out there is just, you know, stay positive, stay happy, and just, you know, just keep a smile on your face at all times, no matter what the situation is. And you know, make sure you get that message across, even if you have to stand on the front line and tell all the people behind you, you know, to smarten up and just keep a smile, keep the energy high, and just keep a positive vibe. That's what you have to do. You need one person with a voice that can speak to everyone.
Right.
I gotta say, oh,
go ahead.
I gotta say that was probably Canada. The way you guys handled that situation over there was probably the most like the most encouraging and most like eye-opening formula that the world got to see. And I think it's like massive impact. No matter if you guys didn't get to completely seal the deal, you guys made a serious, I think, an incredibly long-lasting impact. Like, to watch that and how you guys were able to maintain that composure was phenomenal to watch. And I'm always for that. But to the credit a little bit of the States in general, the problem is that Trudeau hasn't mastered dividing the people like our left has. They've mastered the art of creating these organizations like BLM and that, you know, and not, you know, not that I'm trying to divide people by organizations, but there's purpose to certain, you know, organizations, or like what they did to us in J6. They led us to that, and they prepared us for a purposeful and pre-planned failure, and to make us look worse than we were. And to the credit of that, but it was like you guys solidified it for us to see, because there is the question, like, man, what are we supposed to do? It's getting so intense. Do we continue this peace? Do we continue holding our composure, or do we fight? And nope, you guys sealed the deal. You guys showed clear as day what it is and how far you could get by being. I mean, I do believe there's a time. There's a time for a 1776, like 1776 had its time. I believe there's a time for righteous anger, but that has to be so at peace, and composure and discipline has to be so exhausted, like over-exhausted to a place where there's just nothing left to do until they're at our houses ready to snatch away our kids and do all these extra things. You know, then things might start needing to be a little bit extra, but which I'm sure they'll try to push purposely to stoke us in a perfect time, so that it's, you know, they'll be able to get us on that. But that's why we have to understand that they'll play the game so hard and push us to the limit so that we could do something stupid. And you guys showed the world, like, more than anything I've ever seen, on how to remain calm.
That's facts. And you know, and one thing that I want to bring up is that, you know, we're in an information war on a global scale right now, right? And I want to send a special appreciation to you, Austin, because, you know, guys like you and Chris and ladies like Kristen and Half-Blood Aaron and you know, and so many other streamers out there were giving the people the ability to see in real time what was really going on in the streets. Because with mainstream media and the big circle that we're up against, without you guys being boots on the ground, and again, people, they're in here, you can't thank you enough. And I know, you know, you don't want to take credit for everything, but, you know, seeing you on the streets, bro, and I mean, I was watching you very early on, handing, you know, when the whole whatever GoFundMe thing went down, everybody $10 million or whatever, and then they got frozen. You know, people were able to donate. I don't know if I should be saying that, but to your email, and
Yep.
you were every day out there, bro, handing money to the truckers. You know, telling
Yep.
them buy this, get yourself some socks. And I mean, as soon as I saw you doing that, I mean, I was just hooked on watching you, man, and your kindness and your generosity and your willingness, I should say, to show the people what was happening, and at the same time take care of the people there like they were your family. And I'm telling you, the moment that I saw you handing out little teddy bears to the children, bro, and handing out dog food to the people there that had dogs, and then, bro, and then you like outdid yourself and took the dog out of the truck and took it on a walk for the trucker. I was like, bro, I'm like, I was hooked on you, bro, every single day. I mean, I threw you 100 spot. I was like, done. So you guys showing the world, man, was so valuable. And I just can't thank you enough. But what was, when you first got there, what was that feeling like when you first parked your truck? What was that like?
So when I first pulled up to the downtown core, I came to like a dead stop, like far away from like where I was originally parked. And I wanted to get in the action, you know. I was like, I need to be up there. I need to be parked in there. And I ended up jumping a median in my truck and driving up oncoming traffic just so that I could get up into the heart of downtown. And when I got up there, man, I did not want to leave because the energy was so high. The people like were walking past my truck, reaching in my window, giving me hugs. They're like, I love you. Thank you for being here. You know, freedom. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, it's just amazing to see how many people were just coming together, and just like, you know, tons of people coming up. Oh my God, can I take a picture with you? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Like, you know, I just got here. I don't even know anybody out on the streets, you know? And then people just wanted pictures with people. They just wanted to hug people, and they just wanted to be with everybody because, you know, it was like, it was like Canada Day over here, and it never ended. You know, it lasted for 20 days straight, and it was just absolutely incredible. The first night I stayed in an Airbnb when I got there, and then the 2 nights after that I slept in the back of my pickup truck, and then after that I was in hotel rooms because, you know, it was 3 or 4 days before I even started accepting donations, right? And as fast as they came in, I was like, yeah, they're going right back out to the truckers. You know, we handed out $20,000 to the truckers, and it was just incredible, man. Just absolutely incredible.
Tell me about Chaba. Is it Chaba? Is that how you say his name? Okay,
Yeah.
so because you guys were like boys, and I know you still are, and you guys will be family forever, but he was a trucker there, and you had your pickup truck, and you were kind of boxed in, or you guys had a little area secured with Chaba, yourself, and another trucker.
Yep.
I remember watching you in the interview with Chaba, and he broke into tears talking about his daughters and his family, that he hadn't had any work since the first week of January, and that he was ready to die for that cause. And he ended up getting out of his own truck, getting in front of his truck, and was beaten. Viral videos of him being kneed and beaten, and he had his hands behind his head. Can you give the people an update on Chaba? Because, I mean, I don't know if he's on Instagram. I don't think he is. I think he's on Facebook. But
no, he
tell us
finally
a little bit about your relationship with him, how it started, and an update, if you wouldn't mind, real quick.
Yeah, no problem. So Chaba does have Instagram now, guys. I don't know it off by hand. I think it's Caesar Official. I believe that's what it is.
If anybody knows it, tag it and I'll pin it.
Yeah, I believe it's at Caesar Official. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But the day that it was the Saturday, he was out in front of his truck on his knees, hands behind his head, facing the cops. The cops pulled up to him. They asked him, you know, they started pushing him, and they were like, who are you? What are you doing? What are you doing? Who are you? And he's like, I'm a trucker. And as soon as he said that he was a trucker, they pulled him 2 trucks to the left. They threw him on the ground. I think he said about 5 or 6 cops. And they started throwing flying knees right into the side of his body. And the next day he woke up, you know, he went to the hospital because he had blood in his urine. And he had a problem with his lower back because that's where they were kneeing him, was like near his lower back at the bottom of his ribs there. And they did an x-ray on his chest, and he's like, no, I need an x-ray done on my back. And they were like, no, they wouldn't do it for him. So he came back home finally after 7 days because he had to wait for his truck to get out of the impound. So we did that welcome home party for him yesterday. He came to my house for dinner, and then we went down to a nice little welcome home party at the wrap shop there by my house. And you know, it was just amazing to see all the people that came out. You know, he's still a little sore on his lower back, but he said when he gets back home to Windsor there, he's gonna go to the doctor out there and get it x-rayed and looked over. But yeah, that video went viral, and it was just disgusting to see, like, you know, the force that they used on somebody that was literally on their knees with their hands on their head surrendering. And it was brutal, man, just brutal.
That's wild. And I'm gonna hand it over to you right now, DVS. But one more question for you, Austin. If there was one thing that you could change, what would it be about being there? Or if you can give advice to the Americans, what would it be?
That's a really good question, man. That's one question I asked every trucker and every protester that I seen on the streets. And the only thing I would change is more people, man.
Yeah.
That is the only thing, like, you know, more people throughout the week, because, you know, the weekends came and there was thousands and thousands of people there. And it came to the weekdays, and it was like, you know, we were fighting to get through because a lot of people went back home and a lot of people weren't there. So, you know, the weekdays were a struggle for us. But if that's one thing I would change is, yeah, it would be adding more people and trying harder to get, you know, one officer to come on the other side of that line to stand with us. Not like I didn't try my hardest. You know, I tried for 21 days, 23 days or whatever, and I couldn't get one, and I tried.
Yeah, but you got one to hug you guys, though. You got one to hug you guys.
That is very true. We did.
And actually, I have one more question, man, because I was watching you live, and you were standing next to, I believe his name is Sean Zimmer.
Yep.
And the whole like 3 or 4 days when the police were pushing on you guys, I kept watching, and you kept calling it too. It was the guys behind the front line, right?
Yep.
And it was the guys in the gray specifically in the back row, bro, that I was watching the entire time. And you would even call them out. But, bro, there was a day that I know you know what I'm about to say right now, when you were standing right next to Sean, bro, and that I posted it on my feed. That dude broke through the line and went and reached for you guys. And I think he put his hands on Sean, you know, from what I saw in slow-mo. What was that all about?
Okay, so we had a target on our head out there. They were targeting influencers and live streamers. And there was actually, you didn't see it in the video. You seen the one guy in the video. There was actually 3 of them that came in behind the line. One of them grabbed me by my shoulder, and the other one grabbed Sean right by the front of his jacket there. And, you know, we both got away, thank God. When they grabbed me, I kind of threw an elbow behind my head and then turned and ran away and took out a CTV camera guy. And, you know, I got back, and then I turned, and he was right beside me, and I was like, man, like, you're good? He's like, yep, I'm good. I'm like, okay, sweet. And then it happened to us again on the second time when I went off a live. I ended my live, and because I was convinced that I was done going home, and I was like, I'm finished. And it happened to us again, and it was scary, man. It was absolutely scary. That's when I jumped right back on live again, and I was like, man, I'm not getting off this.
Yeah, it got wild there. Sean, anything for Austin?
Yeah, man. It kind of like I love the story because, you know, the story you were telling and how it all went down, and because I'm always reminding the group here, like, you know, NYFR and the friends that I've made in that group, like Joe and Sylvia and Joy, that my thing turned off before I could mention them, but I always tell them I'm always amazed at how it's really just the least of us. We're just regular people. If you meet, you know, Joy, you meet Joe, you meet Sylvia. Sylvia's a free person. She's like a freaking ball of great energy. She's hilarious. You meet Joy. She's just, her smile is bright as hell. And these are not like, you know, significant, you know, high up or in you know, particular position people, but we're just us. And and it's encouraging to see that, you know, it's just the regular guys, the guys on the ground who could be so impactful. Like you, all you did was, you know, get on your camera and be present and be available and make yourself, an instrument of change. And from, what I get from you is just a regular guy. You're no particular prominent figure. You're just a regular guy like one of us. And bro, your videos made massive impact just with picking up your camera and being there. It was powerful, bro. Extremely. I saw your live once you had like 10,000 people watching.
Yeah, that was my max. And then, we got this printed out to
oh yeah, that was dope. I saw that picture. Yeah. And so I always tell the group too here in New York how appreciative I am of just how simple we are and how we could just make the best out of any event. A lot of times we'll do a rally and we're on there and we're talking about serious stuff, and then we'll do a real big march with thousands of us, and we're out there, being active and fighting for a change. And then at the end of some kind of hard rallies, we'll throw on the music and just dance, kind of like you guys did over there. And that was, for me, those videos probably the biggest impact to the narrative they were trying to push, because they were saying Nazis and white supremacists and blah blah blah. Meanwhile, all you see is bounce houses, people giving out dog food, walking dogs, dancing and all that stuff. So, trust me, that right there in itself, there's a reason they want to stoke our anger. They're purposely pushing buttons so that we react in a way that makes them win. And so watching you guys and just that whole thing, just to know for other people who are watching now to understand how the least of us, even if you think you don't have a voice, so did Moses. Moses actually dared to tell God in the burning bush that send someone else. I don't have a good way of speaking. I'm not good for this. God said, I'm sending you, bro. And so I think that's one of the things that I can't stop taking away. Every time I see it here in New York, when I saw it in Canada, it never stops moving me. It never stops moving me how strong and powerful some of these people are with just being present.
Yeah. So Austin, I don't want to take up too much of your time, man, but what do you guys, what's the update right now in Canada with respects to the mandates, and what words of encouragement do you have for I guess I'm going to call it the people's convoy out here? It's not just truckers, it's a lot of other people headed towards DC. Man, honestly, you guys need to keep that. Like I said it once, I'll say it 1,000 times. You guys got to keep a positive mindset no matter what the situation is. You guys got to keep that smile on your face, and you guys got to keep the energy high. You can't let the little things break you guys down. Once you guys start going down, they're going to notice it. They're going to start nitpicking at you guys even more. You have to find something that'll boost you guys back up to the top. It happened to us multiple times, and we just kept coming together as Canadians, and just holding that line with one another. And it just took us, just standing in a line, just singing "Oh Canada" for everybody to just start being happy again and everyone to start cheering again. You just have to keep the positive vibes, and encourage everybody you can to come out and just go on live on anything. It doesn't matter what they're on, just go on live, get the word out there so that people like us in Canada can be updated on what's going on out in the States, like how you guys were with us, and you guys can get the words out there even more. And like that comment right there, take a knee when they start to push. You guys are not resisting, you guys aren't doing anything, and you guys are literally just taking a knee and you're just holding the line together. So you guys just got to really keep it peaceful and keep it happy out there, even no matter what they try and throw at you, because like you already know, as soon as one person retaliates, it's game over for everybody. It doesn't matter where you are or who you are, they will go in with full force, and you guys will get it a lot worse, so just, you guys got to stick together. You guys have to communicate. Communicating is the biggest thing that you could do. We had guys that would get in the cops' faces out here, and it would be us pulling them back, telling them they're stupid, and
to not do that, because you're going to ruin it for everybody out here. We didn't come 18, 19 days for one person to come in and act like an idiot and get everything that we worked for just completely annihilated for one guy trying to be a hero, you know?
Yep. Yep. All right. Anything else, Sean, for Austin before we let him go and wrap it up?
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. And again, Austin, man, I appreciate it. You continue to reach out and go on people's lives and come on and share your word, you know, and we may not have won the big battle yet, so to speak, but we are getting small incremental victories. And a lot of the mandates across the world seem to kind of be loosening up a little bit. But at the same time, we all got to remember, you got to keep putting and reminding people of what happened so that we keep this fresh in people's minds, because
100%.
with people nowadays, tomorrow they forget about this stuff. So,
and I can't stress that enough, man. I can't stress that enough. You know, I have so many people messaging me. They're like, man, what about Ukraine and Russia and all this stuff? Why aren't you covering that? And at the end of the day, I get it. You know, it does need to be covered. But, you know, the whole reason I didn't turn my Instagram into the way it is right now, because I want to get, you know, everything that's happening all over the world and start flooding my Instagram with it. You know, I went out to a convoy, used my Instagram to show people that were on the convoys what was going on. And, you know, now like Canada's biggest concern is the bills that they're trying to pass through Parliament right now. So, you know, I'm going to continue to push those bills out on my Instagram page so that people can be noticed on what's going on, and they can send their emails to the people that it needs to be sent to. And, you know, I'll post the odd thing here and there about the Ukraine and Russia thing on my stories, but for my main page, I'm focusing on the bills that are going on through Parliament. And I can't really, you know, they got a lot more things planned out in Ottawa and Toronto and stuff like that, but I can't really say too much on my Instagram because, you know, I probably got cops watching me and looking at my stuff. So just like anything else, as soon as, you know, just say if chapter 2 started in Ottawa again and I started posting about it, you already know there's going to be roadblocks put up everywhere. There's going to be checkpoints put up everywhere just to stop people from coming in. So, you know, it's something that you need to spread word of mouth so that people don't really catch on, right? And word of mouth is the biggest thing if we're going to make another movement again, because it takes 2 minutes for a cop to look at your Instagram page and go, oh yeah, they're coming back on whatever day of this month. So get the roadblocks out, get the checkpoints set up, and then they're not going to let anybody in. So all that planning that people did for, you know, weeks or months is literally just going to go down the drain because one Instagram post.
Yep. Amen to that. All right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you, man, from all of your brothers and sisters here in the States. We love you guys up there, our brothers and sisters in Canada. We appreciate you guys. Nothing but love and respect. Final words, Sean.
That's it, bro. Just thank you. Thank you very much.
Much love, brother.
Word, brother.
All right, man.
Amazing.
Appreciate you coming in, brother. Have a good night, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys, man. Have a good night.
All right, man. Peace out. All right, so just to kind of come full circle, DVS, if you want to plug real quick, I know you're working with some of the convoys here in the United States. Can you please give the people an update on what you're doing with respect to the convoys?
So there's Convoy to Save America. Let me tag that there. I believe I have it on my story. Wait. Penny, I see that you're in here. Can you put the link? I think it's convoytosaveamerica.com, maybe. Oh, let me find out. Give me a second.
All right. So DVS is working with some of the convoys. As you guys know, there's a convoy. There's several convoys, I think, several different organizations, if you will. One left from California 5 days ago. I think they're in like Missouri area right now. And so go ahead, DVS.
Oh, I'm over here typing with my keyboard to try to type on my phone.
Convoytosaveamerica.com.
There it is. All right, so there's Convoy to Save America. You know, this is the group that we all went to Buffalo with, to the border to, or by the bridge, by the Peace Bridge, to go support the Canadians. They're leading a convoy from Tennessee right now, or I think in 2 days they start from Tennessee. But there's also American Truckers Freedom Fund. Then there's Freedom Convoy USA 2022. These are all the ones that I've been following and having conversations with. And so it's been hard with some of the suspicious back and forth with some of these convoys.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of these convoys, we already know the feds are trying to sneak their way in and try to you never know, try to create another J6.
Mm-hmm.
So there's also a reason there that we're seeing all of these mandates dropping just before State of the Union, just before convoys, just before there's just what a miracle.
The cases, the cases in California dropped by 70% in the last 2 weeks. And I asked, what did California do, and why didn't they do that 2 years ago? It's crazy, bro. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's all baloney, and the fact that it's, again, like I was saying before, I just cannot believe my eyes and ears watching some of the people who still have the capacity of believing any of this nonsense. Like, even just watching Joe Biden, there are still human beings that exist in this country that believe that Joe Biden is anything good. The guy is solid trash, 100% through and through. There's no question about it. You have to be brain dead to think that guy is doing anything good whatsoever. Guy is garbage. And so there's people not realizing that. There's people, seeing the mandate. It goes from one V, and then you're good. That's all you need, and the V will stop the virus in its tracks, and stop it from spreading to anyone else. And then the science grows. The science changes. No, but they're speaking to us solidly, factually, telling us strong statements. Like, this is the one that's solid. You got to take it. That way we'll save everyone. Meanwhile, right now under Biden's presidency, we have double the amount of people dead than Trump's last year and Biden's first year, while at the same time, the mass majority of the population is vaccinated, yet more people are dead.
Crazy.
By doubles.
Yeah.
So nobody.
I speaking of skating, I don't know. I think this should be good midterms. I don't think the Republicans have even started to play their card yet, but it's going to be interesting to see the rest of this year play out. That's for sure. What do you got planned for the rest of 2022? Personally, got any projects you're working on, or what do you got going on?
Yes, so I'm working on a truck and trailer that I will be, that I'm going to be building to have a stage, a pull-down stage, a pull-out sound system, a little mini recording studio inside, a setup for on-the-road interviews with, at events. We'll do sit-down podcast interviews, whatever, and I have it set up for that kind of a vibe. I'm almost even thinking, because I was a barber for 11 years. I'm almost even thinking, because as a barber, you're like a therapist. You're like a therapist to your clients. They sit there and they'll sit there and tell you their whole life in that chair, and it's just you and them. And so I was even thinking, like, have a little barber station where I set it up and I'll do interviews with people as I cut them. I'll have pre-made questions and whatever, and have a whole little interview section. Have a really cool vibe. Get them a haircut. What do you think about this? Type of thing.
All right.
It's an idea that I'm working on. So, right now I have that link on my page. There's a Give, Send, Go. I set it up to do, to help the convoys that are coming now, so that we could supply them with supplies, food, water, and blankets, and all that other stuff. That's the idea. It's kind of getting close before we can actually. I mean, unless we can, make it happen here. I'll put the link here, and you can
And everybody,
Pin it.
you know, I asked him to kind of speak on what he's got going on, so he's not coming in here necessarily to plug and ask people for money. But you know, right now, you guys, with the last 2 years that we've been through, if we're not helping each other out, then what are we doing? You know, why do we want to continue to give our money to you know, these elites and these big corporations? You guys, you know, help support small business, your fellow patriots. And
I just
if
put
you
it.
got if you got an extra $5 or $10, you know, help out your fellow patriots, you guys. It doesn't have to be them asking for money. It just should be you willing to help out your friends and family. So go ahead.
You could pin it there. I put it up there.
And you guys, you can up on the top right here, you click that little thing up there. You can hit the follow button if you want to follow him real quick and easy.
So let me tell you that the idea I have with that. My idea is to spend all 2022, you know, the full idea is to spend all 2022 going state to state, setting up rallies like we do in New York. I want to reproduce what we've been doing here in New York. I want to reproduce it in other states. So the way we've been doing here in New York is that we do rallies, and after the rallies, we march. We physically march, you know, and we make our presence known. You know, it's not just rallies and everybody speaks all nice and fancy. We speak, we march, and we do sit-ins and all of this stuff. And so I want to kind of reproduce that in every state, and I want to push candidates from that trailer that are America First, people who are for us. Because at the end of the day, yes, there is no side that we can trust. There's crooked in both sides, but and it is up to us right now. We need to get on the ground ourselves and do not dilute it at all. It needs to increase and increase and increase. We need to make our presence known as massive as possible and never dilute that. But while we do that, we have to understand that we also need our people in office. So I wanna, because 2022, a lot of people haven't got it yet, but 2022 is probably going to be the most important year of the entire history of our country. This year is gonna define what happens for the rest of it, for the existence of this country. What happened, what goes forward. And so because of that, I want to, you know, do this tour and go state to state. If, you know, if you go on my page, you can go down my history. I'm actually outside. I've been outside religiously and have not stopped for the last 5 years in every state. Yeah. I've been at all the rallies. I'm up front. I'm fighting for real. And so you know, I'm keeping that same energy with this trailer. So, you know, you guys want to help me with that. It's a big project, but I guarantee you when this bad boy gets done, it's going to be the real deal Holyfield, folks. I'm going to make a damn dent.
You know, I think you've got a great idea on your hands, DVS. You're obviously a guy who's very innovative, a guy who's forward thinking. You've got leadership skills and qualities. And whatever you put your hands on, I know you're going to be successful. Let me know however I can help you with that in any way whatsoever. But I kind of had a similar idea because I knew you were talking about doing this skating tour or whatever, you know, like you just mentioned. I think maybe it's evolving as time goes on, but I had a vision of like, you know, a big concert, you know, that traveled around the country during the summer. But not just a concert, but speakers as well. Maybe Ian Smith, you know, and Danny Presti and some of the New York Freedom Rally crew and the ladies from the crew. I just was like, wow, that would be so powerful because a lot of, you know, guys like yourself, New York Freedom Rally, Bryson Gray, for example, this is so much bigger. We touched on the information war. This is about changing culture. And now that it looks like things are going to be loosening up, I think we have, in this election year, we have to find a way as conservatives, or like you said, we have to have our right people in play to move together in 2022 right now, set the foundation for 2024, but really take advantage of us coming out of this COVID thing and trying to change culture somehow. So I like what you're doing. You know, I know you got a lot of people you've met, and we didn't get a chance to touch on this so much, but like DVS said, go to his page, you guys, and scroll and scroll and scroll down. You will see that he's actually out in the streets. He's outside, as they like to say in New York. And, you know, we need more people like you. We need more people like the New York Freedom Rally. And for the most part, you guys are all peaceful for the most part. You guys are doing it the right way. And I almost was going to tell Austin, I think in a lot of ways you guys led the way for Canada, but they kind of just took it and exploded the thing. But they were very much like a family, like New York Freedom Rally. And, you know, and so in a lot of ways, you guys are the same, and we're fighting the same fights. And, you know, I appreciate what you're doing, brother, and nothing but love for you. So I'm going to give you the last words. Any closing words or advice or thoughts for the people before we close it out?
Take what you saw from Canada, take what you see from the New York Freedom Rally, and duplicate it everywhere. Get out on the streets, get personal, you know, keep your composure like you saw in Canada, but understand that you are the people, and it's the consent of the governed. So be outside. Be outside. You're not too small. Your voice is not too small, and that's it. Don't stop. Don't stop until it's settled, because this is really getting into a place where we're gonna shift. Like a lot of it seems twilight. It seems like, no way, this is too much. It seems way too out of control, and then there's gonna be a switch where it's all gonna click, and when that switch turns on and it all clicks, we're really going to feel it, and it's going to be too late. And so we need to be outside. Amen
to that, brother. And, you know, this show is called Most Hated Mondays, okay? It's kind of a joke, okay? This show, I want to be about love. I'm not going to get into any hate on this show, you guys. I see somebody in the comments right there. Hey, Dino Lover, why don't you get out of here, okay? I don't know who you are, okay? But we don't give a shit, all right? So I gave you 2 seconds of fame. Now beat it, loser, all right? So anyways, y'all, I appreciate you guys coming and tuning in tonight. Next week, we've got Romeo Georges from Australia. So going to have a little bit to talk about as to what's going on deep down under in Australia. The week after that, Lucas LePagean from Tin Horn Flats here in Burbank. They went through a year and a half battle with the city of Burbank, still in litigation. And then we've got Kyle Turley coming after that. So DVS, I appreciate you coming on, my brother. We'll probably do this again, if you don't mind, down the road, catch up on you. And everybody who's still in here, if you guys want to follow him, I'm going to close out with his song Liberty or War again. Download that on iTunes, and feel free to go ahead and plug all your platforms before we head out. DVS.
At official DVS 7.0, which is what I'm on now. Then there's my truth social is going to be at DVS. I haven't even been able to get in yet, but you can follow me if you're on there already. Then there's Twitter, which is at DVS7_0. Then there's Getter, which is at official DVS7, I believe. But all my links are in my bio. You can find all of my links, all of my relevant links at flow.page/DVS 7.0. Flow.page/DVS 7.0. You can find all my music there. And I've been giving everyone a challenge. Find one single song of mine that sucks.
I love it. All right. Y'all, we're going to close out with DVS 7.0 song, Liberty or War, featuring Rebecca Grace. Get it right now after this. Go to iTunes, download it. In fact, don't just download it. Buy the song, y'all. Thanks for coming in, DVS. It's been good, my brother. Have a good night, y'all.
Yes, sir. Do I just...
But I'm calling them block first, so they end up for atheists. But I ain't sure they got a hide behind them alias. So if you wanna come get it, no, you tryna play chicken. But listen, I ain't no chicken. When I play the game, I'm playing it. Delicious, so I think it's in the best interest of this entire administration to fold first. We don't control the line, and we gon' hold it till our body and our clothes hurt. And even then, we ain't go back down. We outside, whole gang outside. Bitch, we inside, and we going worldwide.
Guys, stand up. We can make a change. Just don't be afraid. Let your voice be heard. Change not cross on my neck. said, be not afraid. This all ends when we say no.